Hello everyone and welcome back to Quiz Your Candidates. So I'm joined this afternoon by our VP Activities candidates. So in a second I'll hand over to them to introduce themselves. But in the meantime, be sure to ask questions in the Q&A section. They can be targeted questions at a particular candidate or they can be for all the candidates. We will try and get through as many questions as we can, but if we don't, then we'll try and make sure that we get to those candidates, we get those questions to those candidates afterwards, or if you want to message them, I'm sure they'll give you an answer. So without further ado, the order that we're going to go in for the 2-minute introductions, we're going to go Daniel, Chris, and then Jordan, if that's okay. And then I will let you know who's answering what question in what order. So Daniel, whenever you're ready, I've got my 2 minutes. If you go over, I will stop you.
So is everyone ready? Yeah, no problem. So, hi guys. So I'm Daniel. The reasons why you should vote for me, for instance. So I've been at Chester now. This will be going into my 5th year if I'm re-elected. So I did 3 years in undergrad at physical education. I was club captain and vice club captain for 3 years across 2 different sports. I've currently been sat in this job already for a year. So I've built those connections. So if I got re-elected, the ball would still be rolling. It'd still progressively get better. I've worked through a COVID pandemic and I've still produced countless amount of stuff. You may have seen it across my social media. So imagine what I could do outside of a pandemic. 2 big things I want to really tackle is the inclusivity side of the university. So breaking down the barriers for people to participate, create more events, and have the opportunities to still participate. And then also those disbanded societies which may not have re-affiliated this year, and the same with sports, reband them. So why can't we bring them back? I've got countless more stuff. It's all over my social media, so please do get in contact if you have any more questions. Dan's your man. But yeah, keep it within 2 minutes.
Well, within 2 minutes. That was only a minute long. Thank you very much, Daniel. So next up, Chris, if you'll take the floor, please. Your 2 minutes will start when you start talking.
Hello, I'm Chris Berrier. I'm currently a 3rd year Geography and Natural Hazard Management student at Chester. I've been the badminton club captain for the last 2 years, as well as doing the Ultimate Frisbee vice club captain role. Both of those roles, as other club captains will know, it's quite a lot of work and you're dealing with lots of different people. You got different deadlines, other committee members to deal with, talk to. It's increasing that teamwork, which I've built on right since I was about age 11. Why you should vote for me? I feel like the SU could do with a change in some places. Having spoken to a couple of sports and societies, there's clear barriers between the two, and all of my manifesto is based upon working with both of these. I haven't got a sports manifesto or societies manifesto. Every point can cover both of these, as well as covering every single student that is under the University of Chester name. So my main sort of focus will be to support every student and provide a better experience for every single student that comes through the gates, whether that be a potential student who is currently studying in A-levels, or whether that be someone who's on their last day of their 3rd year or their final year at the University of Chester. So just making sure that everyone has the best experience that they possibly can, because the time at university is what you look back on in 10, 20, 30 years. So that is my pitch. Please do vote, and I'll try and answer every question that comes through as best I can. So thank you very much.
Just to time. Thank you very much, Chris. Jordan, we'll come to you to round us up on the 2-minute speeches. So whenever you're ready.
Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Farley-Mass and I'm running to be your VP Activities. A bit about me is that I'm a 3rd year musical theatre student at the Hammond. I've been the club captain of cheerleading for the past 3 years, and I'm also a founding member of the Chester Maori Society, so I have experience in committee and member roles in both sports and societies. My manifesto focuses on my main aims, such as increasing the collaboration and celebration of all students from all campuses. Being from the Hammond myself, I've seen that there can be some lack of communication between students at different campuses, and one way I will bridge this gap is by hosting an SU podcast, which will be a hub for all news from all campuses, and even having a sports and society feature to encourage more students to engage and advertise and get involved with their societies and sports. Episode 1 of this podcast is already out, so you can go check that out on my social media, where I talk through all of my manifesto points in detail. My next focus is to engage and support all students from all backgrounds with specific SU events catered to them, such as postgraduate students. I will also support sports and societies by improving the bonds between them and the bonds between themselves and the SU, such as through my points of my one-to-one sessions and drop-in sessions to make sure we continue to make progress together. I also want to bring my own passions into the role, such as the advertisement and increasing the variety of the amount of mental health resources and training opportunities throughout the year, support local businesses within our community, and run environmental and charity campaigns across all campuses. I have met with loads of departments, loads of reps on exactly how I can work with them to make my points happen. So if I were to be elected, I'm ready to rock and roll, get involved and get active around campus. So thank you for listening to my pitch.
Wonderful. All keeping to time. That's what I like. So we've had some questions come through beforehand, so we'll start off with some of those and then we'll move on to some of the live questions that are coming in thick and fast. So if you try and keep your answers as succinct as you can, that'll mean we can get through more questions. So the first question, what is one strength you have over your opponents and what is one strength they have over you? And we'll start with you, Daniel.
Right, throw me in the boat there. Okay, one strength I've got. I've been in the job for a year already. I've built those connections. I know how to work with people. I know how to get the quickest time out with people. So I'd be the most efficient, get stuff done. And I've already got those plans already in motion for when the pandemic disappears, could we say, whenever that may be. One strength they have got over me, they are currently students, so they are currently on a day-to-day basis meeting fellow students of similar age category. So they may have a more on-the-ground, up-to-date knowledge, whereas obviously I've got to wait for students to come to me and say what this sort of issue is. Obviously because students aren't there and thereabouts and they're still getting their lectures. So yeah, I would say my strength is I've been here for a year and in the motion already, whereas their strength would be they're already on the ground with students of similar age. But yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Chris, if you'll take the floor next.
So I think one of my strengths over both Dan and Jordan is that I've definitely got both of the sports and societies, having done both of them throughout my time at university, while having also done it prior to coming to university. It's not I've come to university and started it. I've been involved in them right through my education time. One strength that I think they have over me is, especially Jordan, is so much better than me on social media. I thought I knew how social media worked, but I really didn't. I think Jordan has shown every single candidate up here. So fair play to you. You've done loads on social media. So yeah, they're my strength and weaknesses, as we could call it.
Yeah, perfect. And Jordan, if you'll take the floor, please.
My strengths, I believe, are how passionate I am about everything that goes on around campus. Over the past 3 years, I've got involved everywhere I can, and I've built amazing relationships with staff and students that I'd love to continue to develop and work alongside them. I've also been really proactive throughout my campaign, so I've already started my podcast, for example, and I've already got plans of action in place ready to go from the day if I was able to get elected in the role. And I'd say Dan's strength over me is that he's already in the role, he's done it for a year, but over the year, I do believe that there could be some changes that bring to the SU, and I think I could bring those changes and also improve the work, even if we were to stay COVID based, increase the amount of advertisements for sports and societies that potentially lacked this year, alongside running more events and trying to get more engagement and people involved through social media, as that's the only main way that we can communicate right now. And I'd say for Chris is that he's a student on the main campus, so potentially he will have interacted with more students in lectures, and even though I'm on the Hammond campus, I think it would also work as an advantage to me this year, because although in the past it would be seen as a disadvantage because I'm not on the main campus, I'm not in and around all of the students, that's one of the reasons why I think that we should be just as included and just as aware about what's going on for students to interact with us too.
Lovely, thank you very much. Some great answers. So you briefly touched on there about student engagement. So as you know, VP Activities is the fun VP, if we may call it that, the fun officer in terms of their remit. So with student engagement down across the university and screen fatigue is becoming an even bigger problem, what would you have done or will do differently to try to reduce this and improve engagement? And we'll start with Jordan, please.
To touch on the screen fatigue, that's the main reason that I thought a podcast. Let's do it through a medium so people can put it on in the background if they're cooking or just doing some work. If they're going on a walk, they can just put it on and listen, have a break from their screens, and it's a way to engage all the students, because there will be something for everyone from every campus, every department, every sport and society on there every single time there's a new episode. And I also want to increase the engagement through social media platforms. So all the campaigning I've done for myself is what I will do for you guys, your events, for sports and societies, putting it all out there. And especially through a global pandemic, it's been really hard to find the motivation to keep coming. And I myself has every single week, I've continuously put on sessions for cheerleading. So we've had every single team training once or twice a week and having socials still virtually, and it's something that all the girls can look forward to. So I think improving and increasing the events that are put on and raising more awareness so people know they're going on would be something that I do really well.
Lovely. Chris, if you'll take that question next, please.
So I think what I would have possibly done differently is maybe have a few more events that were student union run. So even if that was, I know that there's been the Among Us games and Sam's quizzes on a Sunday night, but other events throughout the week, so maybe every Wednesday, I know Wednesday is a big social night and certain sports and societies have still been meeting, but have something on then as well that, and I know we're talking virtually, so it would have been on a screen. It's very, very difficult to say how you do something not on a screen when that's all we've got, but have more events that are sort of different to a quiz, because I think I've done enough quizzes and I think a lot of people have done enough quizzes for a year. So have other events going forwards. Touch wood, we're not as virtual next year. So increasing student engagement, being active, giving sports societies, academic societies, departments the opportunity to get sort of into a spotlight. So whether that be an event outside the student union where they can go show off what they've been doing, maybe let's take cheerleading for an example. They put on an outdoor show or something that is a training session outside. People can come along and watch, they can see what they're doing, how well they're doing, posters around campus that can advertise what's been done, what's coming up, what's on, and just increasing that contact between every single student and all the sports societies and volunteering schemes to enable people to be able to easily get into something new, or as Dan said, get things back up and running and get people into that, because at the minute it's very much you do your lectures and maybe not so much the extracurricular side. So rebuilding that extracurricular and the life on campus.
Lovely, thank you. And Daniel, if you'll finish it up, please.
Yeah, no problem. Can I just get that start bit of the question again? The very start bit of the question.
Yeah, so it's with student engagement down across the university and screen fatigue is becoming an even bigger problem, what would you have done differently, or what would you do differently to prevent this?
Okay, right, smashing. So first of all, obviously screen fatigue is a big issue. You've got your lectures, then you want to do a bit of socialising, but you obviously can't meet any people. And then at this current moment of time, the only people you can really mix with is your household. A lot of people still at home, so they're with their families or their support bubble or social bubble that they're living in. So with the use of the health and wellbeing department in the university, so that would be like Cara Johnson and Jamie Morris, and then I'd look at the AU, the Athletics Union. I would bring Gordon, Ali Cutler and Ali Burkett in, Claire Smith, I'd bring her in. We'd all come together. We would try and create something for the family to do. So bring back, one, your socialising, but two, your family. So come up with activities you can do within your house. It doesn't need to be on a screen, but people are still in that, I wouldn't say a rut, but in that confusion of what they can do at this current moment of time. So why don't we come up with a program of stuff you can actually do as a unit, as a family at this moment in time? Then when the restrictions are loosened a little bit more, why can't we expand that a bit more? So if you're allowed to meet with 6 people, or look, this is what you can do with 6 people, etc. So I would do that. Obviously stay away from, try and keep as much away from the screen. So obviously I can do nothing to do with your lectures. It's down to your lecturer to if they want to provide on a screen or if they're just sending you stuff via an email. But also just working on, so Chris, you just mentioned something about a Wednesday. Okay, obviously we can't promote like on a Wednesday. So typically you go out to Roses, you go out to Off the Wall, all that sort of stuff. So we can't promote the drinking side, but we can promote the social side of it. Obviously, why can't we come up with something? So I tried to do this already with Super Team of the Year for sports and Super Society of the Year. I got used to submit videos and created a league table. That was something you could process and do over a 4-5 day period. So you're still socialising in a way, because you're still working at the same objective. So there's all that sort of stuff you can do. But then at the end of the day, obviously all societies are student led. So I can't go to your society and tell you what to say, what to do, etc. Yeah, I got that note, El. But yeah, so like I said, it's student led, yeah, it's down to you to what activities you do. I can plant the seeds, but you've got to put it in motion.
Thank you. For anyone that, obviously you can't see me, but we can all see each other, so I just gave Dan the round it up. We've got a lot of questions to get through. So we've got some targeted questions coming through, some that came through previously and some that are on the chat. So I'm going to try and get through as many as possible. So Daniel, the first one is for you. You say you have increased the number of academic societies by 5, but most of those were there from 1 or 2 years ago. So how can you explain this?
Yeah, I worked on, got my red square back. There we go. So first of all, so how it is expanded. So a lot of societies, when it came to the rebuilding process where you've got to submit your committee, hadn't done so. So fair enough. I think when I first ever started my job, there was actually only 4 or 3, and I think currently at this moment in time we're on 18, 19. So if it's the 3, it's the 5 times. If it's the 4, obviously it's 4 times and 3/4. So these have all been re-affiliated since the start of February. We have gained another 3 that we'd never ever had. So yeah, one of them's forensics and criminology. I think I've said it right, or sociology, forensics and psychology, sociology. Yeah, so that's just one of them. But there was loads that have came in and increased. So yeah, that's how I've increased it by 5. And then also there's the funding pot. And I said, obviously, people come and they ask me about society. How do I start society up? I told them. They went smashing. Right, we've got 2 people. We've got that started. The ball's in motion. Right, you've opened yourself up to this pot of money. But yeah.
Lovely, thank you very much. So the next one, Jordan, is for yourself. So you suggest a podcast as a solution to a screen, but how will your podcast help deaf or hard of hearing students?
I'm so glad someone asked this. Thank you, whoever you are. So, leading up to all of my manifesto points, I reached out to different departments, as I've said before, and before making my podcast, I got in contact with the British Sign Language Society that started this year. And I spoke with Sam from their committee, who is fluent in BSL, and everything that I've done so far to do my manifesto campaigning and my podcast has been run past her to make sure it's as accessible as possible for hard of hearing and deaf people. So I've got my subtitles on all of my stories and my videos and also on my podcast. So working alongside her to make sure that everyone can access my podcast and all my content has been a really, really big aim and one of my main focuses when establishing all of my points to begin with.
Lovely, thank you. Chris, the next one's for you. It's a bit wordy, so bear with. So you mentioned that Cheer have a big showcase event that they do for charity each year. So did you know about this previously, or was it just a random example that you picked out of the sky because you knew it happened? And how would you implement this kind of showcase style event for each sport and society?
I did know that cheerleading, they've just completed their 100 miles in 28 days for February. So I did know that that was going on. I knew that they also went to all the tournaments, but I didn't know that they actually did a sort of showcase as such. What was the second part of the question? Sorry, Elle.
Yeah, no problem. I said it was a long one. So it was just leading on from that. So how would you implement that kind of showcase style event for each sport and society?
So I'd use things like the open days, get different sports on the football pitch, the hockey pitch, in the dance suite, the drama studios, even get societies on in places like Malloy, Sports Hall, and have sort of not a set day as such, but a day throughout the year, a couple of days where sports can say, right, can we have a charity match on, or can we have orchestra, say, can we have the student union bar for an evening? So have options working with the different facilities across the university, and that's on every campus, where sports and societies, volunteering schemes can sort of sign up to say, we'd like to come and showcase what we do. Where can we do it? When can we do it? This time suits us. Right, what sort of space do you need? Work it around what sports and societies want. So asking them what they want, not just saying, right, you're having 2:30 on a Tuesday on the football pitch, because there might not be enough people to fill it, or the football pitch might not be big enough, for example. So working with them to provide different sessions throughout the year, different opportunities where they can show off all the fantastic work that they're doing. It might be even just something like a little stall where they can advertise a charity event that they're doing. So working with them.
Yeah, perfect. No, that was a really good answer. Thank you. So Daniel, the next one is coming to you. So you say that you have met with every society one-to-one at the start of this year, but have you continued this throughout the year? And if not, why not?
Oh wait, I've got my red square yet. There we go. So I have met with every society one-to-one. So I contacted all of them, and 90% came back. Maybe I think it worked out as 92%, but on the facts and figures page, it looks a bit better as a whole number. So yeah, 90% of the societies I met on a one-to-one. I asked them, would they like to meet me on a termly basis, a fortnightly basis, monthly basis, etc., and stuff like that. They said they wanted to meet mostly like monthly or termly. They want to meet. And then the agreement we always said was, yeah, I'll be there at your sessions, because when these sessions were hosted, these one-to-ones, it was in the later stages of November, when we were looking and the government thought we were going to be coming out of the pandemic a bit more. People could be meeting up a little bit. Everything was in the motion for societies to meet. So it was when you had your sessions, I'd be coming there. Obviously, most sessions are after 5 p.m. when I'd finished work. Whatever was in work, I'd still be permittable to go there, socialise with them, meet with them, ask them those questions. Obviously, there's been no societies in person, so that's why they haven't met. But there was always, like I said from the start, I was meeting my societies to do a monthly, not monthly, a termly basis one-to-one sessions. Obviously, we're only just into term 2, well, midway through. And after the elections, this is when I was planning on rolling out my next stage of one-to-one sessions. With that being said, it's something that looks really good. So obviously I've done my Foresters findings every single month. I've reported on the societies, what they've been up to, what sports have been up to, what the Life of VP activities is up to. And then after the one-to-ones, I also did the Termly Telegraph, which was a 7-page spread or an 8-page spread when I last looked at it. And it said everything that was in those sessions, what students found hard, what they enjoyed, etc. So it was fully detailed in there, and it was put on the Society's forum page with all the committees. But yeah.
Thank you. I've got a follow-up. So if societies were still meeting virtually and they've said that they've wanted to meet you, have you met virtually with the societies that have said they wanted to see you weekly, termly, monthly?
If the societies want to meet, if they wanted me to turn up to their sessions and meet me, I'm more than happy to do that. I have met several number of societies currently already on these sessions. In particular, there was a Christian Union one the other day, which I was there. I was posting about it. I was encouraging people to come to the next one they had because it was really useful. And there was all sorts of this there. I'm trying to think of one, another one which I attended. So there was a Star Wars one the other day. I was at that. If you want to look at the sports one, I was at Equestrian the other day. I was speaking to the lacrosse girls the other day. I've met with countless societies and countless sports. Obviously, VP activities predominantly societies based, but we're there for the voice of societies and sports and the wider student body as well. I don't know if you froze there, Earl. Yeah, we can't hear anything. So I can see a question on the side of here. I'll try and get a generic one when my mouse decides me to cover a question. As L's disappeared. Oh, L has officially disappeared. We have. Okay, so there is a one for all of us here. It says, Chris, I'll let you go for it first. If you were to compare yourself to one political figure, who would it be? Oh, L's back. I'll let Alice wants to change the question. Speak. Oh, we've now got BP Shrewsbury as well.
Hello.
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 Am I back? I'm not
Yeah,
back
Elle's
clearly,
back.
I don't think.
I was back.
No.
I had to leave the attendee call and then come into this one. Sorry. So I'm not needed. Is she frozen again?
Yeah, L's froze again. L's froze again.
Okay. So we're on Q&A questions. Give me 1 second till I get these loaded up. So well, this question is a wider question. So what are everyone's plans for postgraduate inclusion? Chris, we'll start with you.
So in terms of postgraduate, I know that there's quite limited number of students that take part. Now, whether that be these students don't live on campus or live near campus, they might commute in, they might not be on Parkgate campus where a majority of the sports and societies meet. So increasing engagement is a major thing. So it's sort of, I'd be going along the lines of have a society and sports fair on a Wednesday afternoon when most of the postgraduate teaching is carried out, so that it's an event that these students can access. A Friday lunchtime or Friday sort of 12 till 3, which is when the sport and societies fair has been before, possibly isn't too suitable for these students, because if they're only required on campus on a Wednesday and they're living at home, they're probably not going to travel across from wherever they live to come and sign up to sports and societies. So have a session for them on a Wednesday afternoon, a Wednesday evening, whatever time on a Wednesday that is best for that category of our students, and suit their needs, because that's the thing, they're doing that next level of degree that the university offers. So we need to sort of work around them, not them work around us. So yeah, that would be my sort of plan of getting them involved from day one, but also sessions throughout the year. Not all sports and society sessions run at times that are suitable for them. So yeah, that would be how I'd aim to do it.
Brilliant, Chris. Thank you. We'll move on to Jordan next.
Yeah, so I recently met with our postgraduate student rep Dale, and we discussed all the different ways that we can increase engagement for postgrad students and all the different events that I can put on if I were to be elected, to really focus purely on postgrad students, because I can understand that coming to university as a postgraduate student, you might not necessarily want to engage with all of the social side of freshers and different events that are specifically catered to the newcomers to university. So just holding more postgraduate social events like a barbecue would be really cool, just to get people out and about and meeting each other. I also want to hold more support events at the SU specifically for postgrads, because I think it's quite daunting, the prospect of coming into your final year of study and then moving on to find jobs. So getting people in to discuss about career paths would be another way. And also trying to increase the engagement of postgrads in sports and societies. They're an amazing community that are there to support students. So if you can meet like-minded people when you come to a new campus, it would be another way to support and engage those students.
That is brilliant, Jordan. I think our El Presidente has joined us again, so I'm going to head on and join the audience again. Good luck, guys.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, Wi-Fi. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So not sure which questions have been asked. So if they've been asked, just tell me to ask something different. So this one is for Daniel. Sorry, I was just reading. This one is.
I was just saying there was a question already said, and we're part way through.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Carry on. Apologies. Carry on as you were.
So the question, I can't remember what the exact wording of it was again, as I was trying to do that. It was to do around postgraduate society, postgraduate community and region engagement. So how I do this, obviously, as Dale's been mentioned, obviously I do speak to Dale, not have spoke, do speak to Dale on a regular occurrence. But also there's Emma Roberts, who's a massive advocate for these. And then there's the Postgrad Society, which are very vocal upon this topic. And then also there is the Mature SOC, because obviously there's a lot of people ranging from postgrad. It doesn't just mean you're 21 and then you're going straight to postgrad, or you're 22, 23 in that sort of area. Some of these people in the postgrad areas are 60, 70. I was speaking to another union the other day. They had an 85-year-old man on a course because he bored, so he was part of the postgrad community. I love it, absolutely love that. But these are people that may have families, so their time constraints are very tight. So if there was five individuals who wanted to play five-a-side football, for instance, and the only time that they all had was a Tuesday at 2 o'clock, is there something I can do and contact Gordon, Alice, both Alice and Claire, and say, right, can we have the pitch at 2 o'clock for a five-a-side? Because as you regularly do have staff members training and stuff like that, can they participate in that? Set something up for that way, set pathways up. That mugger is used predominantly from about 5:30 most days to about 10 o'clock. Why isn't it used from 9 a.m? There's about 2 lectures on there a day at best. What's happening with the rest of those hours? And that goes for all the sports facilities. Moving away from sports, societies, exact same thing. So Star Wars Society, if they had 5 postgrads that wanted to get involved but they couldn't make that session, is there something I could speak with Star Wars Society and say, right, okay, can we tweak your times, or could you adapt to a virtual session, or look at some time when everyone could participate? And that's just one area of the university. Countless areas that they can get involved in. And then moving on to the careers and employability area, obviously, if you're going to the highest level of education, postgrad, and then obviously onto PhD, you obviously are looking for a job to go into somewhere. You want to further your employment, your career, go further. So on to my final point on manifesto, for instance, look at why are providers not coming to you at your campus? So why are providers not going to the Parkgate campus? Why is it not the Queen's Park campus? Why they always come to Parkgate? Just little things like that. But yeah, I'll come back to you, Will.
Thanks. Have you all answered that question? Yes. Okay. Perfect. Back on track. I thought my Wi-Fi was about to drop out again. I was like, please don't. But it's not. Okay. So this one is a very topical question at the moment. As a member of a society, I've heard about a letter going round questioning the competence of the VP activities in the wider SU. So I just want to ask all candidates what they thought of this and how they would handle it moving forwards. So Jordan, we'll start with you.
Regarding a letter going round discussing anything to do with the SU, first of all, I'd like to think that if I was elected in this role, that this one, first and foremost, wouldn't happen, because my main aims within my manifesto points and just personally through my experience is to develop the bonds between sports and societies, between themselves and between the SU and them. I will be so active in this role, going to different sessions, having open door drop-in policies where you can come and just talk to me if you need a good listener. And if a letter is going round, I think change has to be made, and I'm here to make that change that students are obviously being vocal about and wanting.
Yeah, great answer. Chris, how would you handle it?
So first of all, I haven't heard or seen this letter, but if there obviously is a letter, so if elected in or for starting in July, I would aim to try and meet up with either the person or the society or sport who has sent this letter in and try and get to the bottom of it. Once at the bottom of it, find out, right, how can we as a student union and how can the VP activities individually work on improving the points that have been brought up in that letter, and sort of use the letter as a bit of a checklist. So sort of saying, right, you've said X, I've now worked on that, I've sorted, I've communicated, I'm confident that we've resolved that issue. Are you confident with it? Right, the next point, and work on it as a bit of a checklist and say, it's not I need to sort this and I'm going to do it on my own. It's using the other members of the elected officers, the wider students' union, the people or the person who has sent this letter in, and even every society that we've got, because if one society has said it or one person has said it, there could be 10 people or 10 societies that are all thinking the same. So it's getting right down to that core issue and rebuilding from there and sort of putting some confidence in people again.
Yeah, perfect. Daniel, obviously you're very close to this letter, so without going into any detail, how would you deal with it moving forwards if you were elected?
I'll wait till I get my red square. There we go. So obviously I have seen this letter, I have read this detail and scrutinised it in many areas. So obviously how we have dealt with it is obviously we've approached all the societies that have signed it and members that have signed it, set one-to-one meetings up. But as well as this, like Chris has just said, there could be other societies that have felt this way but not agreed to sections of it or anything like that. But what you do find is as one person speaks up, a lot of people also speak up. So start meeting with all those people, asking where that connection's fallen. Is there a particular reason? personally not coming into the letter too much. It's obviously everyone's down to that screen fatigue, they're fed up, they really want to meet up. Everyone outside of society, outside sports, just in the wider actual public society, people are just fed up with sitting inside, they're trapped. And obviously the VP activities is like a first point of call to go in and say that. Obviously, being an officer, if anybody that ever gets elected, it could be, why is that wall painted the wrong colour? You're the first person that's going to get that complaint. You don't just work up to one complaint a day, you work up to 40, 50, 60. They're everywhere. So it's obviously just dealing it, tackling the problem head on, not just shying away. If there was something like this that would happen, I would obviously say, like, why haven't I been informed? Why have you felt like this? You've got to give people those channels to open up, approach you. I feel like it wouldn't have been formed, this letter, if people could have came into the office or anything like that. It's just the current situation and the pent-up anger. So I don't know if it would happen again, but obviously there's always that possibility. I have got the plans to come in. I'd love to everyone to meet face to face. Just a difficult situation that everyone's in. But yeah, back to you, El.
Lovely, thank you. So that was a bit of a heavy question because it's very topical at the moment. So I'm just going to pick it up with a bit of a light-hearted interlude. If you were a cartoon character, which would you be and why? Chris has just stared longingly out of his window to answer this one. Daniel, we'll start with you first.
Donald Duck. As everyone knows, I love ducks. But yeah, love ducks.
That's true. Chris, are you ready? No, we'll come back to you. Jordan.
I'm going to say, controversial, I'd be SpongeBob because I have the loudest laugh that you've ever heard, and everyone always laughs because I'm laughing. So, SpongeBob.
Nice. Chris, you're up.
I'm gonna have to go with this. I'd be Tigger. Don't know why Tigger. I have a little Tigger somewhere, a little cuddly teddy Tigger. Why would I be Tigger? He always strikes me as being a bit of a lunatic at times. He's got no fear, happy to chuck himself into anything. I know my personal Tigger has got a really curly tail that looks like you could spring half a mile on it. I've always got that spring in my step. I will always strive to go that one step further. So yeah, I'd go for Tigger. Don't know why Tigger. Tigger just was the first that popped into my mind. I'm not a cartoons person. So we definitely have to go Tigger.
Yes, we'll take it. We'll take it. Okay, so interestingly, there's a bit of a background and leading on to a question that's come through in the chat. So following on from the postgraduate question, Dale has put a comment in to say he'd just like to clarify that he's only spoken to Jordan during the process of the elections and he's not spoken to Daniel or Chris. So with that being said, the next question that follows that is, what staff or key community members have you spoken with to prepare yourself for the role of VP activities? And we will start with Jordan.
I have spoken and reached out to the majority of departments and student reps that all my manifesto points are to do with, and also just generally. So I've spoken to the wellbeing team, personally Sam, I've spoken to Gordon, Ali's over at the Athletics Union, Dale. I've also been in contacts, not a virtual meeting, but in contact with the BAME student rep, and also just all the sports and societies I've visited. Last week, I visited 15 different sports and societies and also sent personalised video messages to all of the ones who aren't currently meeting up, answering their questions and just introducing myself so everyone can get to know me a bit better.
Lovely, thank you very much. Chris, who have you met with to prepare you for this role?
So I've met with quite a number of sports and societies. I haven't kept count. It felt like I met with loads last week. In terms of meeting with departments that I'd be working with, I personally haven't done that because I thought I'm not yet in the role and I don't want to step on Dan's toes as he's currently in there. To me, it seemed a bit, if I was doing that, is it on, and this is my opinion, is it a bit, I'm getting this role, I'm going to be in it? I'd rather come in September, not in September, in July if elected, and hit the ground running from then. So that is my reason for not having met with any other departments. I've met with several sports and societies, spoken through things with them, and yeah, so that's my reasoning for not having met with the postgraduate and every other department.
Yeah, no, that's great, thank you. And Daniel, who have you met with to prepare for this role, not just the people that you already know?
Yeah. So I'll just go back to Dale's comment. So I haven't spoken to Dale in the elections. I didn't specify I spoke to him in the elections. I have spoken to him several times during this role. So on this the council, he's chair of the council, and then he has been in the office when it was allowed earlier in the year. Well, building on from that, obviously, I do speak with Gordon quite a lot. I do speak with Ali quite a lot. Speak with Jamie Morris over in the wellbeing department. I speak with all of hospitality, so that's like James, Paula, Ian, and then you're looking at residential services with Maria. So there's all of them, and then there's obviously the sports and societies that do contact me on a daily basis, or some of them might only speak to me once a month, once a week. Constantly dropping the message in. I keep the channels updated constantly, so I do get as much information as I physically can, and they're willing to give me upon that. But obviously, sitting in the role for a year, you encounter so many different people. I still sit in meetings now, and I've got to hover the tag and go, oh, I didn't know you even worked in that department, because there is hundreds and thousands of different people that work at this university. So it's always, from your first day to your very last day, you're always making some form of connection. But, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I'm conscious of time, and we have our president candidates coming up soon. So I'm going to ask one final question. So it's just a quick fire one. Out of all the candidates running for any position, full-time or part-time, who is one candidate that you would like to see win? And we will start with Daniel.
Jack Rankin, all for Prez. I've sung his praises on the one-to-ones. I've sung his praises in absolutely everything. The boy is a magician when it comes down to the job. Perfect.
And Chris, if you'd like to go next.
I'd say Jack Sanderson. I think all of his points are really, really good. They're all achievable. They all sort of work on and carry on any work that has been done in the past. And I think Jack is the right person for that role.
Perfect, thank you. And Jordan, who would you like to see win?
I'd like to see Lauren win VP Education. I think her manifesto and the way that she's conducted her campaign has been amazing. I've really enjoyed seeing all of her new content, all of her videos that she's putting out, and I just really, really appreciate the time and dedication that she's put into creating such a strong manifesto as someone also from another campus.
Lovely, thank you very much. So with that being said, we will go to sort of a quick roundup, quick closing statements from each of you. So we'll just go in the order of Jordan, Chris and Daniel. So as soon as the person before you's finished, just start. So whenever you're ready, just your closing remarks.
So my manifesto is just the beginning of all of the other exciting ideas that I have that I'd like to implement around the SU. I hope that my passion and enthusiasm can come through the screen at you. I know that some people might never met me in person, but all of the social media stuff I've been doing for my campaign, just trying to get my personality and all of my passion out to you guys. And that's obviously what I would do for you if elected in that role. So go check out my podcast. Episode 1 is on all of my social media, so you can go listen to that or watch it if you want to read the subtitles and look at my face a bit more. And yeah, if you want to tune into change, vote George for VP.
So for me, finishing up, all of my manifesto points, I've only got 12 on my actual manifesto that I've published, but there must be about 25 on there. every single one of my manifesto points will cover both sports and societies. There are a couple that are limited to sports and societies, but the majority of them, I'd say, on my manifesto, 10 out of the 12 could be covering every single student at the University of Chester. I also have taken into account sort of the monetary value of each manifesto point, knowing that we are one of the lowest funded student unions. I have included and sort of incorporated that into every point. So how can I do it for free if possible, or if it requires some sort of monetary input, how much, and try and keep it minimal. So if you want someone that can listen to every single student and will aim to improve your student experience across your whole time at university, vote Chris and it'll be bliss, or the other way around, it'll be bliss, vote Chris.
And yeah, to me, so I've been in the role for a year, like I specified several times through this. You look at my last year's manifesto, 3 things were missed, and the reason for that is because it wasn't allowed to be in person. So I've essentially completed my manifesto from last year, what I was legally allowed to, legally. Why can't I complete the rest of this one? I've already got most of the stuff in process to get the ball rolling and keep going. But yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. Vote Dan, he's your man. And I have pulled everything off that I've already promised. So yeah, have your say.
Thank you very much to all of our VP activities candidates for joining us this afternoon. It's very nerve-wracking, so I'm sure any support that you can give them on their social media pages will be really appreciated by them. If you haven't already voted, you can vote via the unique link that you will have received in your student email, or you can visit chestersu.com/vote and make sure you are logged in. I've said vote so many times this week. Make sure you are logged in using your university login on our website, and then you'll be able to vote. It is preferential voting, so you'll be able to vote for your first, second, third, fourth candidate and so on, and every vote matters. It really does. So anybody that you know, make sure to vote. Get your classmates, your housemates, everybody that you know to vote. Oh my god, my brain, sorry. The president candidate quiz the candidates will be occurring in about 10 minutes time, so sit tight for those, and you'll be joined by your host Adam and the president candidates. So stay online, we won't be long. Thank you.